Hey Andy, can you hear us?
Yes, I was having trouble. My mute button was sticking. Sorry about that. Hey, Scott. Hey, Jamie.
Hey
Uh,
Andy.
yes, Steve bought me this cheap headset, and both of these mutes get stuck, and he keeps. Anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my desktop. Jamie, can you see my screen?
I can, sir.
Okay, great, great. Uh, Guys, thank you for joining us today. We have a pretty decent show ahead of you, and even though the market is kind of mundane today, I would say, wouldn't you, Jamie? Kind of slow, lethargic, and there's kind of a reason for that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's get through the disclaimer. You guys understand that this webinar is for educational purposes only. Okay, no content should be construed as investment advice, and if you're looking for that, please seek a broker or a IRA or whoever you want to seek. But this is just for educational purposes only. So, moving forward, guys, I want to remind everybody that we have a vibrant community out there for all of our investors, and for even if you're not a part of our community, is in other words, you're not a subscriber, there's still some great stuff out there, like these webinars, like the trading room, brought to you by our moderator Barry. He does an incredible job in there. Man, I think the trading room has grown from like 40 to like close to 700 now over in the past year. A lot of good stuff happening in there. It's a good place to go to learn how to use the alerts, learn how to find alpha, and not only that, there's some great traders in there. It's not just Barry. There's a lot of good traders in there, and a lot of people. Barry's great about giving you help, and there's a lot of help that's offered from the people in there that's been using trade ideas for a very long time. They'll just offer up their help as well. So. And then on Mondays, we got Jamie Hodge and Steve Gomez that brings you office hours. It's always very educational, and you learn good things in there. On Wednesdays, we got Dan Merkin and Brad Williams to kind of go over a lot of the alerts on Holly and just open it up for question and answers. And also, we have a Trade of the Week. That's something you have to subscribe to. And that's offered. That's by Steve and myself. I bring that webinar to you on Wednesday afternoons. And then, of course, today we got myself and Jamie. So let's look at the schedule for today. And like I said, there's not a lot of action in the market today, but that doesn't mean there wasn't action in our community. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the market recap, and Janet Yellen speaking tomorrow in Jackson Hole, and you've heard us guys mention in the past. Anytime you have a big event, coming up, whether it be jobs numbers, whether it be whatever you want to pick, but anytime there's a big number, it seems like the market just kind of goes stagnant, kind of goes in wait and see mode, and that's exactly what you've been seeing over the last few days. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about what to expect, maybe if she speaks tomorrow. Jamie will go over the Holly recap. Not a whole lot to talk about. Just the market. She has one eye on the market, and she sees it's pretty dead. So not a whole lot of action, but we'll definitely go over. There was definitely a few trades to catch some alpha in there. And then I'm going to show you guys, I think, something you're going to find interesting, especially if you don't have this alert yet. And I will talk about that, how to catch them early. That's better, I guess, best presented when I show you the content that's coming up instead of going into it now. And then if we have some time, I may. It's an alert that I'm still working on. It's another one of those alerts that. We want to call it swing scalping. That's an old term that me and Steve invented at Today Trader, but it's one of those 3 or 4 day holds, kind of like volume doesn't lie, that I'm still working on. But if I have time, I may bring it to your attention and let you take a peek at it anyway tonight. And then once again, if we do have some time left over, we'll do some Q&A, and maybe if you guys want to have a few charts to look at, we can do that as well. So first, I think what I'll do, Jamie, is turn the presentation over to you, and we can take a look at the Holly recap. How's that sound?
That sounds A-okay to me, Andy.
Oh,
So,
I take that back. Nope. What am I doing? We got the market recap first.
you just got the you just got the recaps confused.
Yeah, well, I did. I just got the recaps confused. So let's go in, to the market recap. So let's just pull up the spiders here. And stretch my little screen out so we can get a good picture of the daily spiders. And guys, just what we talked about, and Jamie, Steve, and I, and probably anybody else you hear on Trade Ideas and webinars have been talking about this line, okay, that we drew way back, over here in the middle of last month, that we've been trying to poke through. Hold on just a minute. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, yeah, this is a level that we broke through, and we keep trying to come down and break this line. I think Steve referred to it as the guilty line, and we just keep popping back up. I know, guys, this sounds like a broken record, but it's so important, to watch this level. Today, we tried it again. Once again, we went to this line, pierced through it, and popped right back up. And lo and behold, here we sit right above the support line, going into what could be, a catalyst tomorrow. It all depends on what she says. I'm hearing some, I think I'll blame Steve Gomez, that there could be some more QE coming. I don't know, but, I'm not going to speculate, guys. It's not my job to guess and speculate on what's going to be said. It's your job as a trader to react, and to react to price action. So if anybody wants to take a gamble and load up, going into Yellen's speech, that's exactly what it is. It's gambling. And, I think the astute trader will sit back, on their hands, like they probably should have been doing the last few days, and waiting to see what happens. But it is a forum where a lot of things get kicked around and discussed, and there could be when she speaks, there could be, if not QE, maybe some hinting of what's on the plate, but that's just a kind of a wait and see moment. But tomorrow it could be some fireworks. So I'm not sure exactly when she's going to talk, but I'm sure it's in the morning, and so just have your eyes open and your ears open, and see what happens there. But once again, the broken record, guys. If we penetrate this line and close below it, we're definitely seeing some weakness over the last few days. 3 down days in a row. Even though this fought back today, I take that back, two in a row. That was actually an update. So. But we pulled back to the low part of this range, which is the upper part of this range right here, and we are battling back and forth. And we'll see who wins, and tomorrow could be a tipping point one way or the other. Anything you want to add to that, Jamie?
So what you're saying, Andy, is tomorrow is not Free Money Friday?
Nah, no, I wouldn't say that. No,
Okay.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Hey,
Of
what?
course, I'm joking, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, Fridays are usually very tame, and if we didn't have Mrs. Yellen getting up there and doing her thing tomorrow, I'd be a little bit different about my anticipation of tomorrow's day. But with what you've just described, and there's just no way to tell. It's a loose cannon. You know as well as I do. A lot of the times, what is perceived as good information, the market reacts the opposite way, and vice versa. So you hit the nail on the head. The astute trader will be keeping their powder dry tomorrow and sitting on their hands, waiting for the action to take place, and then react accordingly.
Yep. Exactly right. And that doesn't mean that when we say sit on their hands, it doesn't mean you can't trade. Just like today was, not a good day in the overall market. I mean, like the last few days, volume's been down. Next to trade ideas, and there's always alpha. There's always something to trade out there. There's stuff that doesn't care what the market's doing out there. And trade ideas. Yeah, and trade ideas will point you in that direction. I'm going to give you a good example tonight. But before we do that, I think that this is a good time to pass it over to Jamie to go over the Holly recap. He does it so well.
Sure. Just let me know when you can see my screen, Andy.
Okay, I see it.
Okay. And, Andy and I were chuckling a bit before the webinar because it was, if you had to attach some terminology to the trading day, you could use boring. That's not completely out of line. So Holly today had a boring, profitable day. So we'll take that. I'll take boring all day, every day, if a little green P&L alpha comes along with it. What's wrong with that? Nothing. So let's take a look at the strategy hopper, which is this is the interface that the strategies reside in. For those of you who attend regularly our webinars, bear with me while I address this for people that might not be too familiar with this interface. The AI panel is what you see right here. These are the strategies that made the team for today's trading. Now, total strategies 8 today, 7 were long, 1 was short. And we can see, whether we sort by win percentage or, probably more apt to sort by day. Nice little distribution of the strategies that fired. These guys, Sunrise Mover and the Turn, their criteria did not get satisfied, so therefore they did not execute any trades today. These all have 1, 1, 1, 1. Alpha Predator, always busy as of late, didn't do too well today on the profitability side. Holly was in risk-off mode today, so we can see that the old Alpha P was the only red stain on the total P&L strategy columns here, a whopping 29 cents on 3 trades. And then the quarterback was the most active strategy today with a total of 4 trades and a risk-off profit of 19 cents. But you might look at this column and go, well, on risk-on showed 72 cents. What exactly does that mean? And we'll get around to that here in a little bit. Okay, so boring day for everybody is kind of what the consensus was, but as Andy said, there's always something going on. I know that the guys in the trading room today, Andy, caught a couple of the low floaters today for some pretty decent moves right off the bat. And then when you have Holly, keeping you apprised of opportunity for the remainder of the day, there's probably about, 2, 3, 4 points floating around out there today just between being in the trading room and watching Holly. And
absolutely. Being
familiar with the methodology that we go over all the time here about how to try and extract additional alpha. And what do I mean by that? I mean things that you can't necessarily see in any report, okay? But, it's more or less an intuitive level and just some simple chart reading skills folded in there. And fortunately, even though it was a slow day today, we've got a couple of good examples of, going what I like to call risk on a specific trade, and then also an example of a trade around. So without further ado, let's just take a look at the individual trades here. And of course, what we're doing right here, you can set your data up a variety of different ways here. We could have a panel here that said, these are the open positions, these are the closed positions. Of course, we can also right-click and say View All Trades, and that's what we're seeing right here. We're seeing the All Trades blotter, and of course, we can see during the market hours, any open positions will show a P&L in the open profit column. So there's lots of different ways to display the data. This is just simply the way that I like to view the data. Everybody's a little bit different. But just keep in mind, you're seeing a lot of columns here with a lot of different information. And we also make this customizable for every user as well by right-clicking And we can always pop in here to columns. We can add columns that aren't there or subtract columns that are there. Therefore, it's completely customizable for your screen space. Okay, so let's just take one more look at this chart right here. Risk off was the mode that Holly reported today. Finished the day up 60 cents on that number of trades. What we have here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 trades, up 60 cents. So, nothing to get too excited about, but when you take into consideration the nature of the day, nothing to sneeze at. All right, so risk off here. Had we been on the risk on mode, we would have been down 40 cents. And of course, the graph here kind of tells the story. All morning, Holly would get flat, and then get down a little bit, then get back up to flat, barely crept into profitability here before wham, back down to lows of the day. Then a little creep back up to flat, and then wham. So what can we extrapolate from this, or what can we, what does this mean? Well, it pretty much tells us that from a statistical standpoint, there was lots and lots of noise today. And of course, hey, that's no big stretch when we're looking at a market that is in a range like what we see here and what Andy has already pointed out. When we are in this area right here, we're going to see a lot of things that we never saw when we were coming out of this trough up here and rebounding. Like, for example, here lately we've seen a lot of instances where S&P goes to highs, and then in 5, 10, 15-minute period, it's all the way back down to lows, and then all the way back up to highs. We've seen that several times here lately. So even though we're not seeing a whole lot of longer-term volatility here, boy, it can sure stretch itself out here and seem a lot more ferocious than it really is. But when we get into these levels, we get a lot of statistical noise. So Holly all day remains vigilant, trying and trying and trying where there's statistically probable plays, and then all of a sudden she sees a window or a door and keeps doing the same thing, and then wham, we get profitable. And that's just like, can't tell you how many times over my career in trading where the most successful guys are just the most diligent, repetitive types of individuals out there where, they just won't stop. They just won't stop with the statistics and the chart patterns, and those are the people that come out on top. And it's very interesting to see the AI emulating that type of activity today. So pretty much a famine, statistical famine here. When the numbers finally start to make sense and Holly is able to recognize it, she sees her door and she takes it. All right, so now looking at the individual trades, I'm just going to sort by risk off here at first. And we're going to talk about going risk on a trade-by-trade basis. And a very good example of that is the PKG. The strategy was the quarterback that spit it out. When we double-click here, we can easily see the blue arrow indicates the bar at which Holly called along here. And, of course, the blue box over here coincides. So, we can just draw a line here to make it easier. So Holly gets long, or says, get long here. This is the quarterback at the heart of it. The filter set is very extensive, but I believe the alert is the one of the pullbacks. So we can see, PKG on an area here has this long bar, expends all this energy, then boom, sellers take control and whoosh it down here. Of course, we can see that wick, which indicates wasn't down there for very long.
A beautiful entry.
Yeah, that is a pristine entry right there.
Yes.
So Holly sees it, wham, get the buy. And, even if you, 77.44, even if we, chased up to the bottom of that candle body, nobody likes to chase, depending on, the lag time, maybe you got into this trade. Had you gotten a fill, well then, this didn't last too long, and then it was, more of the same, boom, boom, boom. So, Holly, since we've recently initiated some additional stop loss protection and profit-taking functionality, this brings up a good time to explain what you're seeing in the exit reason column is why she got out of the trade. Now, when we first brought Holly online, there were only 3 reasons why she would get out. Profit target hit, stop loss hit, or the timed hold expired. Since that point in time, in order to improve the system, we have implemented the profit save and the reduce risk. So here on the profit save, when the action gets real wicky like this, Holly's going to go into conservative mode and go, I'm taking my money here. It's getting a little too crazy, so I'm going to take my money. And we can see, profit save, she went ahead and got out for her 37 cents. Now risk on is saying, you know, if you would have held until the close, $1.23. So there was additional alpha in this trade. So let's say we were in the trade with Holly. We see that Holly, things got a little too rickety for her. She's like, I'm taking my money here. We saw that Holly exits. So do we follow her? If we're going risk off along with her, then we exit. If we think that there's still a little bit of meat left on this bone, and how are we going to try to determine that? Well, you know, other than sitting here feeling the gyrations on the smaller time frames, maybe you're good at that, but maybe you need, you know, to consult the daily, which is always one of the better ways for us to figure out, okay, we're in a winning trade, whether it's a short or a long. Now, you know, what are the expectations? You know, well, what do? We consult the daily, and boy, if you'd have taken that fill, or maybe even looked at this before you even attempted to get a fill, this speaks volumes. Am I right, Andy? When we see it popping out of
Absolutely.
that little channel there, I mean,
Yes.
hey, it's out, and it's out and kicking. It's not just sitting there, but the volume is kicking. It's breaking out of here. I'm already in it here in the money. So, you know, if we think that there's more meat left on the bone when Holly's getting out, then we can, in essence, go into risk on mode for this one particular trade by exercising a few simple rules. Okay, I'm staying in this trade. However, I'm not going to go, you know, just complete risk off. I still have to manage my profit. You know, if half my profit disappears, I'm out. Or maybe if you want to play it a little bit more aggressively, give it a flat, back to flat. Had you done that, no worries. Or if you're in 200 or let's say you're in 400 shares, peel out of 200 for that first profit. Put stop losses in on the second 200 share lot. But either way you do it, there was additional alpha left on this PKG bone to the tune of about, you know, 80-something cents in this one trade here. So, you know, not real obvious what you're seeing here, but once you get used to this methodology, risk on versus risk off, then you can start to extract additional alpha that's not really visible here other than the fact that you start to identify, okay, well, I'm in it, it feels good, it's breaking out of the daily, I'm going to stick with it and manage my risk appropriately. So, you know, let's just say there was a potential of about another 80 cents just in the PKG alone. Right?
Yeah, anytime I'm in a session, I'm always telling people, yeah, you have to, you know, look at those dailies, and looking at that daily like that, and the potential breakout, you have to, even if you know, take some off, you have to hold on to something, you know, because that's just a beautiful chart on the daily, and let it work for you.
Absolutely. Now, seeing as how it was a thin day, there is one more of these guys. So here we see the risk off column. Holly takes a 10 cent. Once again on the profit save functionality. 10 cents. 29 cents. So there was another 19 cents left on the table there. And the same rule applies. Let me squish this chart up a little bit. This one, you know, here we have the entry bar here and the corresponding price right there. So, you know, this one may have been a little bit trickier here, because when we look at this wick here. So, you know, when we have action like this where it comes back below the price, of course that's not the stop price. Stop price is down here. Just to draw a line just so everybody can see. So, you know, assuming that you're comfortable sticking with the original stop price, you know, there was no worries whatsoever about this, because even though it did kind of retrace back to the entry price, never even came close to the stop level. And of course, if you can get past this little area right here, there was an additional 19 cents left on the bone there that we can't necessarily see in the reports here. So, you know, even though the moves aren't that big today, it's the philosophy that we're focusing on here. You know, how can you tell, or what's the methodology to
Oh,
go through if you want to get.
Jamie, if you don't mind here, just using a simple bar reversal, 5-minute bar reversal right there, you didn't
Mhm.
get one. And the 19 cents he's given you, that's on risk on. That's just if you held it for the whole day. I think what yeah, the
Well,
important
that's
point is
calculating this price right here, whereas
right,
there's
right.
actually
That's
more
yes,
more
yeah.
potential in there.
Now, obviously, yeah, you're not going to sell the highs, but I guess we're saying these are idea generation, and when you see those and you see a setup like that, I mean, you didn't even have a 5-minute bar reversal there, so to me, that would be an easy hold, at least for an additional, 30 or 40 cents, just because maybe if you got out in the first bar reversal, just below 1850, whatever you want to use. But I guess the point I'm making is, guys, is when you see a stock on the daily breaking out like that and you get a good entry and you don't even get a 5-minute bar reversal, that's where you got to put your trader's hat on and just uh, yeah, Holly, we programmed her to profit save and reduce risk, and it's working. But sometimes, yeah, there's a lot more alpha to catch if you
Well, Andy,
just
too, let's say you're in this trade, you never worried about it because it never got down to the stop loss area. And let's
right.
say you're in it right here and it starts to top out, and what do I do? Well, once again, look at where we were
Yeah.
today on the gap up, and guess what? If we draw a line straight across from that wick right there,
Yep.
look when it backed off. Because if you can start identifying by looking to the left the resistance levels, well, then you would have a really good idea that you should probably get out of at least some of it up here. Because look, we just capped these guys, we even touched these guys, next stop is this guy. So unless we go up here, probably a good time to exit the trade unless you're trying to hold it for multiple days, right?
Exactly.
So, people try to complicate, we as humans, we like to complicate things. And I'm not just talking about trading. I mean, we could probably apply that to just about every aspect of life. Now, this is a simple methodology. Just as when we go over and over the same things that are working, talked about on Monday, we'll continue to talk about what's working until it doesn't work anymore. And so if you can simplify things and try to, temper your expectations about how far something's going to go up or how far something might go down, all we have to do is pull up the daily and see
Yep.
where it is, And I hate to oversimplify things, but that's how simple that this process is.
Yep. Very good.
Okay, so not a whole lot of meat left on the GES bone, but even if you got another dime, that's an extra 90 cents between the one trade that we just covered on the PKG and this one. And then we do have an example of what we call a trade around, which is different than going risk off or risk on. And we'll use BERY as the example. And once again, it wasn't a huge move, but what I'm trying to hammer home here is the methodology. What is a trade around and how do I participate? Well, a trade around, what I like to term, when Holly gets stopped out of something, we can see Barry right here, she got long right here, and then promptly got stopped out, right? Okay, so all we have to do, and I've already done it, is simply draw a line straight across from the entry price for a second entry. So yeah, the sellers took over, bottomed out, came right back up to the same level. There was another opportunity to participate. So, once again, the move was not very, pronounced here. But had you taken that second entry, or what we call the trade around entry, you would have had a chance to profit or exit for a profit at some point.
And
of course, the daily on this one, look what's percolating here.
exactly.
It was percolating, and now it has left the building. All right, and that's
right.
It's left the building, and because we have an event coming up tomorrow, Andy will tell you, even though we see these pretty charts, it's still kind of stomach churning to try to,
Sure.
to do a lot of
Absolutely.
overnight holding. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there holding and not holding. It's just the nature of the market. But once again, with what Barry is doing on this daily, you know, wouldn't feel, too jittery about holding a little bit overnight. Um, but anyway, the pattern is the pattern is the pattern. It's a good-looking breakout pattern, and that's about it for the trade around examples and the risk on examples for Holly
All
today.
right.
We'll let her do her
Thing tomorrow.
tonight after she folds in all the tick data for today, and we'll see what shows up in the hopper for tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised to see a thin hopper tomorrow, but of course Holly doesn't know that Yellen is speaking tomorrow.
That's true.
Yeah. So I have to scratch that comment because she doesn't know that Yellen's speaking. She's just looking at the hardcore statistics. So we will see. We'll see tonight when she finishes, and I'll have a front row seat for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Great job, Jamie. All right. I'll take it back if you're done.
Yeah, let me just pass it right over to you here, Andy.
Okay.
There you go.
All righty. And let's bring in our, let me just leave that up there and bring in our next thing, how to catch them early. This is going to be fun, guys, because I get asked a lot. A lot of times back when people used to watch me trade, gosh, how'd you see that so soon? That didn't come on my alert till 50 cents, later. Well, we're going to talk about that tonight, and some of the things I'm going to share with you. I think it's going to be very exciting, guys. And the first thing I want to talk about here is how to catch them early. Okay, and this is an alert that I've had probably the day that Trade Ideas came out with volume filters. I think I may have had this for 10 years. It's my basic Trade Ideas market watcher. And I will take you in a minute to show you the filters. I will share this for anybody who doesn't have it out there. But this was a trade on yesterday on NYMEX at 261 is when it first came through my alert. And you can see it's doing currently 266 times its normal volume in a 5-minute volume bar there. Relative volumes only 1.11, so not huge relative volume. That tells me this is a pretty quick move. But if you're watching this, I'm going to show you where my alert caught this NYMEX. And it was right there. You saw it on my screen at 261. It just doesn't get much better than that. If you're reading news services and pulling this up, you're not catching it that quick. It's just that's just super fast, and I'm going to show you how to create your filters to catch this kind of thing. And really, guys, what it's a matter of is I'll take it back here. It's less filters and lower percentage increase in volume. Okay, this filter will let you catch them much sooner in the move. And I'm going to give you an example because what we in our community we trade a lot off of is Alpha Predator. You guys have heard so much about Alpha Predator, and Alpha Predator I use it all the time. As a matter of fact, the filter the alert I just showed you in Alpha Predator are the two main alert windows. Actually, one's a top list that I use, and I let them interact with one another. But anyway, I'm going to show you where Alpha Predator in the same time period. So if you look back here, this alert went off at 9:18, okay, at 261, and showed you where it caught it right there, right before a huge move. Okay, this is Alpha Predator, the same time period. This is the time range right here. It hadn't pulled it up yet. Not a knock against Alpha Predator. Alpha Predator seeks more confirmation. Alpha Predator seeks higher volume and several other filters that we have built in there to kind of confirm there's something going on in this move. So I don't want to say it's a knock against Alpha Predator because I use them with each other. If I take an entry in my first alert that I showed you, like this NYMX, and then I see it coming the next 2 minutes on my alpha predator, oh man, I'm so excited, because now I know, man, I have a really good chance of making some money now, because that's just a confirmation for me. Now, does it always work? No. When you have less filters, okay, and a lower percentage of volume, okay, there's less confirmation, so there's more noise. You're going to get a lot of false moves, I should say. So you really got to be careful when you're going to get a lot more, alerts through that filter I showed you, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. And but this is where you have to put your trader's hat on. And I talk to people all the time. Every good trader I know has a niche, and whether you're swing trading, whether you're momentum trading, but I want you guys to get in the habit of not look, especially some of the newer traders, of not trying to focus on too many alerts. I mean, myself with 18 years of experience, I focus mainly on 2 alerts, and it's the 2 that I've just shown you. And what I'm going to do now is, since you guys have seen the results, okay, you've seen the price alert at 261 on, let's call it NYMEX. And the incredible, right as it broke out, the move, and we're just the confirmation and alpha predator just 2 minutes later. At 293, that's a great price. Okay, let's go back and look at this chart. I mean, that's an incredible price, 293. I mean, it popped above 3. I think during this time I was actually in a session, and after it did this, you can see my green line there. I set my alert. I set it at 301. I told the guy, I said, what if it comes back to 3? I want to know about it. And sure enough, look at that, came back down. It's just something I had to throw in there because I did have a green line going across. I wanted to explain to you what that was. That was a price alert I set after it went through, and I missed it. So that's what that was there. But now let's go take a look at each filter. I mean, at each alert or top list, and take a look at the filters. Okay, this is the one that I call Trade Ideas, Market Watcher. And it's a multi-strategy, so I see down moves, explosive down moves, and up moves. Okay, so let's go take a look at the configure all. Edit selected. And here are the simple filters I have in there. I'm just looking for an average daily volume of 250,000 or more. The price has to be $2 or more, and it's simply looking for a 200% change in volume over the last 5 minutes. So in other words, if I hit this show me button, guys, it's going to tell you the volume in the last 5 minutes has to be at least 200% of normal. Nice, but not huge, not like what you're going to see on Alpha Predator. So this is going to show you the moves earlier because I have less filters and my volume percentage, which can be nice at sometimes if you're really looking to catch them early. But I like confirmation, so a lot of times this is why I have my Alpha Predator right next to it. You're going to see obviously other alerts in Windows and stuff, but I'm telling you what I focus on the most. Now, an interesting, just a little something I want to add to this. If you go to strategy, since this is a multi-strategy window, I'm going to show you how to, the configuration on the alert and explain to you what it is. Okay, if you see this, it's not a solid arrow. If you go to alert, you're going to see it's a new high filtered. And what that means is you're not going to see the stocks come just barraging through every second it hits a new high. This is filtered, so it's based on a price. So if a stock hits a new high, it's going to come on here, but if it hits a new high right after that new high, in other words, I'm just not going to see a stream of the same symbols going over and over and over again. It's filtered, so I only see it. And Jamie, you maybe can answer this more than me. What is it? Probably every 15 or 20 cents, or is it based on a percentage? Do you know what that filter is? It's based on the new high filtered.
Well, the new high filtered, basically the difference between, say, like just the new high and the new high
Mm-hmm.
filtered, in a nutshell, if you're just using regular new high and
Mm-hmm.
some, like, let's say, some very thinly traded stock that's only traded 800 shares for the day, hits a new high with a 100 share print, you're going to see it. Okay.
Right.
Now, new high filtered waits for volume confirmation.
Okay.
So it waits for a little bit of volume to occur before it reports the high. And of course,
But I do
anybody
know
can get.
it won't show it repetitive because I've noticed I won't because I had another alert running just new high beside it, and if it's filtered, it just won't keep sending the same alert over and
Right,
over and
because there
over
has
again.
to be
Right.
some volume
Some
attached to
more.
it. Not
Okay,
just
some more
every
volume.
not just
Okay.
every penny tick is going to trigger that new high. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. But anyway, I love it because I mean it moves fast enough as it is, but if I put that unfiltered, just a regular new high up there, it's not even watchable. It's crazy. So anyway, a very simple alert, and but simplicity, we talk about it all the time. If you're a good chart reader and you can wait for confirmation and sometimes be patient, you're going to get a lot of false moves in here. But man, you can catch some really good ones early, like I just showed you in that in YMX. So that being said, let's take a look, at Alpha Predator. Now, this is a top list. We do have example of an alert, but I'm just going to deal with the top list so you guys will know it, get an idea the difference between an alert and a top list. An alert needs an event, like a new high, a new low, a 25% pullback from highs, whatever. A top list needs no alert. You don't see any alert up here. All you have is filters. And as long as any stock in the universe satisfies these filters in Alpha Predator, they're going to appear on this top list. It refreshes, I believe, every 30 seconds. Is that correct, Jamie?
That is correct.
Okay.
30-second refresh.
Every second. So as we take a look at this filter, you can see it has quite a bit more than what I have in my basic filter. A great top list. So many people in the community in the chat room are using this. It's incredible, but it does look for a little bit more confirmation. Okay, now you need to see volume in the last 5 minutes. It needs to be, let's just do this show me button. I love using this. It has to be at least 400% of normal. So, and I see some people asking for this. Yes, I will definitely share both of these if you don't have them. It's looking for a price. You need movement of at least 0.2% in the last 5 minutes. So not only is it looking for volume, it wants to see movement along with that volume. This is just a simple price filter, a minimum of 50 cents. Change from close, so you're looking for a stock that is at least up 0.2% from the change. Position in range. See, this doesn't need to be a new high. This stock, as long as it's 70% within its the lower part of its range, what's that saying? As long as it's 30% from making a new high, it's going to come through. So you can catch some stuff in here too before it even makes a new high, if that's in, which is a very nice feature of this, and why it's so successful, because a lot of times you can catch these before it even gets close to a new high. And a lot of software and indicators are not going to have that feature in their system. So this is a great top list and a great alert. I love using them both together because a lot of times what I see is I'm coming through here first, and then I get my confirmation a couple of minutes later in Alpha Predator. Sometimes like on a NYMEX trade, maybe you just buy a little bit, and maybe you buy half a position, and then boom, you see it, your confirmation on Alpha Predator, where now it's not only doing 200% its normal volume, now it's doing 400%. So then you can add to your position. So several ways you can work these guys together, and I love using them both. But let me cancel this out, and thank you, Jamie, for hitting all those questions in there, buddy. But once again, going back to the just to kind of rehash, guys, once again, great entry price, okay, because I'm searching for less increase in volume, less filters. I don't have all these parameters set that they have to meet. There's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, I have alerts where I have tons of parameter. The volume doesn't lie. That which, by the way, I remind you guys to show you of one that came through that today. I know a lot of you guys have that. I kind of want to brag about a trade in that one today, but less filters, boom. This powerful product, guys, can point you into stuff, so fast, okay, that I can't live with, I don't know how I lived without it before the so many years I traded without it, but that's just incredible. To get something that's going to show you breaking out at that point, is just it's just beyond me. But once again, confirmation and alpha predator, which actually shows you just about 30 cents higher. So both of them, great alert, great top list. I love using them in conjunction with each other. Which, by the way, I have to bring this up because I know a lot of people, I've been still getting a lot of emails from Volume Doesn't Lie. And a great trade in this one today. Rack came through 10:02 today. And if you look at it on the daily, look, the stock is just sitting here doing nothing. And you'd be scratching your head like, okay, why am I taking this here? But then it's boom, look at this move. Just incredible, nice move from 28.90 where it called it out above 30, closing out just a filter that and if anybody that's in here that doesn't have this one, this is more of a position trading where you're looking for a 3 or 4 day move. I back tested enough. I'm not going to do it tonight, but yeah, I'm getting such a great response. I had to show that the rack space that came through today. But anyway, guys, let's see. We do have a little time left. I'm debating whether I should share with you this new filter, and I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, if I can find it, where did I hide that bad boy? I think I minimized it. I tell you what, guys, I promise to you, I really want to work on this more, for next week. So do you have anything to add? Maybe I can pull it up here. Let's see here. Maybe I will. Hold on just a minute, guys. Help me find this. I think where is Resume Me? There it is. Resumo. Well, it will not show up for me. Sorry about this, Jamie. I'm looking for...
Not a problem. Is the window just not populating?
Wait, let me take off these. I ran some... maybe because it's the... I ran some... Now, there it is right there. All right, I'm going to show you real quick, guys. This is more of a 3 or 4 day hold. It's a resume Mo, I call it. It's a strategy based on a stock that's had a kind of an up move and pulled back for like 3 days. I can show you the configuration here. And if you go to filters, you're basically, I've done some optimization on this. But basically, you're looking for a consecutive day pullback of 3 days. So you're looking for it's a strategy where you want it up from the close. I want it above the 200-day moving average. I want it above the 50-day moving average. So I want kind of a strong chart pattern, guys, that position in your range, it optimizes best around 45 or 50, or between 45 and 70. But it is above its 200-day and above its 50-day. And 3 consecutive days of pullback. And this is nothing like, you're not going to see the results of Volume Doesn't Lie, because I'm still kind of working on this one. I work on these things all the time. And I'm going to backtest the strategy, and hopefully this thing does it pretty quick, because I had one minimized. And like I said, you're going to see a few ups and downs on this one. But while it's doing that, guys, I can talk a little bit more about uh, the alert here. Once again, guys, it's based on a strategy much like the volume doesn't lie, where you enter a trade, you get the meat of the move for 3 or 4 days. That's kind of what Steve and I used to do when we were lead traders at Ditto Trade, and it's a strategy that we used a lot. And you're looking for the meat of the move, which usually it lasts about 3 or 4 days, and then we take our profits and then we move on to the next trade. It's still working over here, moving a little bit slow tonight. That's what I had one up, but hopefully it'll be up here soon. The alerts, it's very simple on the alerts part. It's basically looking for running up and new high. Okay. More about the window specific filter. After it has a 3-day pullback, okay, I want to see it when the minimum is 105% of the prior day's range. That means it has to take out the prior day's high before this alert sees it. And now we finally got it going here. So let me pull it over. And like I said, nothing like volume doesn't lie, but still, pretty decent profit factor. And what I would like to do, I'll share it with the community tonight, because this is one I'm still working on. If any of you guys out there can work on this and tweak it some more to get it perform better, that's what we do here at Trade Ideas. We share. But nonetheless, 2.06 profit factor, total trades, 111, 60%. Average winner 79, average loser 59. It's okay, not bad. But like I said, I'm still working on this one. So if any of you guys want that, I will definitely drop it in the window. But I did want to share this with you guys, and I will drop it in the window right now because we are getting time to wrap up, and I will save it and share it to the cloud. Copy all. Okay, in your chat window, guys, in your chat window, you're going to need to expand that out so you can probably see this, but that's going to be the first one I drop in there is resume Mo, and that's one you guys can kind of play around with it. I'm not going to label these guys, so the first one is resume Mo. I know some of you guys ask about the Trade Ideas Market Watcher, so I'm going to save and share this one. And I am going to copy it. So the next one that I'm dropping in there is Trade Ideas, the Market Watcher, right now. Okay, and the last one, in case some of you guys don't have Alpha Predator, where have you been? But this one I will definitely drop in there and for you as well. Jamie, you didn't see anything else out there if anybody was requesting you, or you were keeping you were doing a good job in the chat room keeping an eye on it there. So, and
just answering questions over here, Andy.
All right, appreciate it, buddy. All right, guys, so you got all three of those dropped into the chat room. All you have to do is paste that little, copy that little red line in the link, and then open up, go to File, and go to File and go Load from Cloud, and they should be in there once you copy the link. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much for attending. I think now we can turn this over to Scott. Let me pull up. I think he has a little special for you guys, so let me pull up the yeah. All right, Scott, take it over.
Yeah, great. Something that we like to do to thank everyone for attending is give you a way to sign up and save a little bit. So we have 2 tiers of service at Trade Ideas for our software. It's the standard version includes a lot. It actually includes all of your exchange fees for the real-time data. It includes a full hour of training. As soon as you sign up for either the standard or the premium, go ahead to the support section, click on training, and sign up for your best time and date, and we will get you a head start. It also includes a little trial of the OddsMaker backtesting tool. However, to get full access to the OddsMaker, full access to Holly, the AI, the price alerts, red bar ignore, green bar ignore, and all kinds of good stuff. You have to subscribe to the premium, and that starts at just $188 a month. You use the code right there, the studio, all caps, just like you see it on the screen. And that takes 15% off of either your first month or first year of premium. So you can save off that first year of $18.88 per year, and that saves you a lot over the $188 per month. The same code will also get you 10% off of the standard. So you can try that $99 a month standard plan with 10% off. Get going with that, get the full hour of training, and then do an upgrade to the premium. You can go ahead and download this same slide and contact information by clicking on the handouts panel of your GoToWebinar interface. Just click plus on there and download that PDF. And you can email us, info@trade-ideas.com. Follow Dan Merkin on Twitter at TradeIdeas1. Jamie Hodge is QuantBot on Twitter. Steve Gomez is Today Trader on Twitter. Like our Facebook account. Go to facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro. We post some original stuff right there. The info@trade-ideas.com is the best place to email us with questions. It goes directly into our support software, so then it gets routed to the correct team member here to answer your question. The phone line is great for subscription help or billing questions during normal business hours in California. I want to thank everyone for attending. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Andy. We'll see you all next week. Come to the other webinars, too. You'll get invites for those, and you'll get a reminder tomorrow in your email about where to find the recording of this one. Thanks, all. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks, Scott. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Everybody have a great weekend.
You too.
See you next time.